Hello, my name is Cass, and welcome to my channel where I read a lot of books and I talk about them. It is almost the month of May, so let's take a look forward at the books I plan to read in the coming month. This is the final month of the first quarter of the year, technically, but like spring section of my 100 book challenge. May is also my birthday month, so this list only has 6 books on it because of a trip I'm taking. I'll be going on the trip in like mid-May for my birthday. I'll be in New York for a week. So the smaller list just makes it easier because I probably won't be reading like as much like page-wise daily. I'll keep my reading streak going. I'll keep reading once a day because I am over 200 days going now. So I want to keep that going, but probably less this month. In any case, let's get to the list. So first up, another duology. We know how I apparently love those. So I will be reading the Letters of Enchantment duology by Rebecca Ross, and that includes Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. This duology is about Iris. She is a young woman who is fighting to win a columnist spot in a newspaper amid like this magical war that's going on. Some of her letters, which she has been sending to her brother on the front lines, end up falling into the hands of her rival named Roman, and the two end up striking up a friendship and eventually a relationship. I'm honestly not super sure what to make of these books, because I've heard about the romance and how amazing it is, and I'm a sucker for letters. I love that trope. But there's also apparently like a war that involves gods, or like did, because according to the blurb, like the gods have abandoned the war that is being fought for them. So I'm very interested to see how that coexists with like Iris and Roman's bond and the romance, just how everything goes. Color me excited and interested in how this is gonna go. Next up, since this is the only physical book I own myself, at least as of right this moment, I'll probably bring this one with me on the trip, but I am going to be reading Animal Farm by George Orwell. Long overdue for sure, but it is finally time for me to read this classic. I'm pretty sure this book doesn't really need much introduction, but in case it does. Animal Farm is a short story about a group of animals who are overworked, and they end up taking over the farm where they live. Their plan, of course, to make their farm this place of equality and prosperity and peace for everyone, but if you know much about Animal Farm, things aren't that simple. It's a really quick read. It's under 200 pages. I actually think it's at least this edition is under 150 pages. And obviously I own it, and it's tiny, so I'm just gonna pack it and read it on the plane. A lot of my books this month are from the library, so that makes it a little harder to get a hold of them, like in terms of like bringing them on a whole trip. Plus, I have to pack lighter, because I will absolutely be buying books in New York City, so it works out perfectly. Next up, and I guess technically finally, this TBR goes really fast with only 6 books. I've been recording for, as of this moment, approximately like just over 5 minutes. So this might be a short one. Anyway, these last things are kind of weird. So usually I've discussed many times on this channel, I read books, like series of books, all in one fell swoop, just because it's easier for me and I keep everything straight in my head. This is an exception. This series that I'm going to be reading, I have divided among 3 separate quarters of the year, my quarters. They were the last books I officially added to my 100 books list before I started it. And so, I will be starting the Crowns of Nixia series by, Carissa Broadbent. So this book is, 6 primary books, and they're divided into 3 separate duologies. there's that word again. I really like duologies this year. Though, if I'm being honest, like now that I've started reading more again, I really like duologies. Like when I was in school, when I was, big reading, everything was trilogies, even when it didn't necessarily need to be. Um, and I actually really like books being like two and done nowadays. It seems like things like it keeps things kind of streamlined, and also like this isn't the case for all trilogies, but a lot of trilogies would kind of sag in the middle. And I feel like two books kind of eliminates that. But anyway, off of my soapbox. So this month, I will be reading The Serpent and the Wings of Night and The Ashes and the Star-Crossed King. These are specifically the Nightborn duology, and they focus on the House of Night within this world. The other two duologies each focus on a different, like, house, it seems. So this duology is about Oria. So this duology is about Oira and Rain. Rain spelled Raihn. Oira is the adopted human daughter of the vampire Nightborn king or Night King. In an effort to become seen as like more than prey, she enters the deadly Kejari. It's this tournament that involves all three vampire houses, which is led by the goddess of death, that's cool. So to survive, she ends up making a deal with Rain. He's a mysterious killer who's actually an enemy to her father, which, like, what a choice there, girl. Did you have no other options? Yikes. But this is a fantasy romance, so of course they begin to fall in love, even though doing so puts Oira and her family at risk. Additionally, I will be reading the 6 Scorched Roses in between these two books. It's a standalone novella that like takes place at the same time as the first book, and it's about Lilith and Vale. Lilith is a human who makes a deal with Vale, who's a vampire, for vials of his blood in order to save her like plague-stricken village. This leads them slowly for a short novella, into falling in love, and it seems, from what was mentioned, and like on Goodreads, all the books and novellas are like in like reading order. These two end up playing a part in the second book of the series, so hence why I'm reading it in the middle of the duology instead of reading the duology and then that. So that is the end of this TBR. I made this TBR short because of my trip, yeah. I don't want to overpromise anything. That and my reading ahead earlier in the year threw my list off a bit, so this lets me get caught back up. Now that I've kind of figured out how I want to do things, I have such a lovely and long physical TBR that isn't on my list. I've started, like, when I manage to read ahead of my list, I just pick up a book that's not on the 100 books list, because I have so many options at this point. So this lets me catch up, and then hopefully I'll be on a pretty usual 8 or 9 books for the rest of the year, ? But yeah, if I manage to read these 6 early enough and I've got time, I've got plenty of backlog, and I'll be coming home with new books as well. I plan on, like, I'm a person who, if I go to a bookstore, I have to buy at least one book. So given I'm doing like a little bookstore tour while I'm in New York, I will assuredly come home with many books. I have allocated some trip money for that. As speaking of my trip, my filming schedule might end up being a little weird because of my traveling. I'm hoping to queue the first 2 Mondays of videos up before I leave, but my reading vlog is gonna be not fully centered around my trip, but obviously we'll have a lot of footage from my trip. So therefore that vlog will probably be a little late unless I can arrange some things, because I won't be back here home until the day after I usually upload. I'm hoping that won't be a problem. I'm hoping I can get ahead of it, but if that upload is late, that's why. But it'll be a fun little travel vlog with me and my grandma, so I hope you look forward to it. In any case, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!